Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Let me start by giving some background. I've been married to my husband, Adam, fake name, for 5 years. Before me, Adam was married to Emma. They were together for 7 years, and Adam always tells me their relationship was rocky from the start, but he stuck it out because he believed in commitment. He's that type of guy, loyal to a fault, even when things are wrong. Unfortunately, Emma didn't share that same level of commitment. Over the course of their marriage, Emma cheated on Adam with multiple people. She had emotional affairs, physical affairs, you name it. Adam tried to forgive her time and again, hoping they could work things out. But eventually, the final straw came when she cheated with one of Adam's closest friends. He filed for divorce, devastated by the betrayal. But Adam's mom, Caroline, absolutely adored Emma. I don't know if it was because Emma came from a wealthy, well-connected family, or because Caroline liked the way Emma made them look as a power couple. But Caroline always thought Emma was the perfect match for her son. Their relationship was more like that of a mother and daughter than a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Caroline was so invested in Emma that even after the divorce, she stayed in touch with her and invited her to family events, which I always chose not to attend to keep the peace in the family. Needless to say, this was extremely uncomfortable and hurtful for Adam. After the divorce, he wanted nothing to do with Emma, but Caroline refused to let it go. She believed that Adam and Emma just needed time apart to find themselves and that they would eventually get back together. Adam, on the other hand, was done. He wanted to move on with his life. When Adam and I started dating, Caroline wasn't exactly thrilled. She was polite but distant, and I could tell from the start that I wasn't her ideal daughter-in-law. I was always compared to Emma, though never directly. Caroline would bring up Emma in conversations constantly, casually mentioning her accomplishments and what she was up to, as if to remind Adam and me both that she still had a place in the family's heart. It was weird, but Adam and I were in love, and we didn't let it get to us too much. I had my boundaries when it came to Caroline's fixation on Emma, and Adam supported me. I figured Caroline would get over it eventually. Spoiler alert, she never did. So Adam works for his family's business. This is a company Caroline built from the ground up, and for years, Adam had been working under her, learning the ropes with the assumption that he would one day take over when Caroline retired. Adam loved the business. He worked hard, put in long hours, and was passionate about the future of the company. Everyone, including me, thought it was just a matter of time before Caroline stepped down and passed the torch to Adam. Then came the real bombshell. One night, Caroline invited Adam and me over for dinner, which we thought was just a casual family meal. Halfway through the evening, she dropped the news. She had decided to step down as CEO of the company in the next year or so, and Emma would be taking over the business as CEO. I was stunned. Adam was livid. This wasn't just a slap in the face. It was a calculated move to push Adam aside and bring Emma back into his life in the most invasive way possible. Caroline claimed it was a business decision, insisting that Emma was more qualified than Adam and had the connections to take the company to the next level. But we all knew the truth. Caroline was still clinging to the fantasy that Adam and Emma would get back together. Adam was not only devastated, he was fuming. For years, he had poured his blood, sweat, and tears into this business, believing that he would eventually take over as CEO. Now, not only was that dream being ripped away from him, but it was being handed to his ex-wife, the woman who had betrayed him over and over again. He confronted his mother, begging her to reconsider. He tried to explain how hurtful this was, how it felt like she was choosing Emma over him, not just as a business decision, but as a personal betrayal. Caroline wouldn't budge. She told Adam he was being emotional and that he needed to separate his feelings from the business. She said Emma was better for the company and that Adam needed to accept it. Adam had no choice. He couldn't stay in a company where his cheating ex-wife was now his boss. He left the family business, heartbroken and completely disillusioned. We had to rebuild our lives from scratch, financially and emotionally. Adam found a new job in a different industry, but it was a significant step down from the position he had held in the family company. The financial strain was real, but worse was the emotional toll it took on Adam. He had lost not just his career, but his family's trust and support. As much as it hurt to watch Adam walk away from his family's company, we had each other, and we were determined to move forward. But life had other plans. Shortly after Emma took over as CEO, cracks began to show. Despite Caroline's insistence that Emma was the right person for the job, it became clear that Emma was way in over her head. She had no idea how to run a business of this size, and worse, she was using company funds to finance her lavish lifestyle. Rumors started swirling within the company about mismanagement, and employees began leaving in droves. Caroline, ever in denial, refused to believe Emma could be capable of such negligence. It was only when the financial losses became too large to ignore that Caroline finally admitted there was a problem. By that point, it was too late. The company was on the brink of bankruptcy. Emma, true to form, cut and ran. She drained the company's remaining assets and disappeared, leaving Caroline to face the collapse of everything she had built. The business that Adam had poured years of his life into was gone. Caroline was left with nothing, no company, no savings, and no place to live. That brings us to last week. Caroline showed up at our doorstep, looking disheveled and desperate. She had lost everything in the bankruptcy and was about to lose her home. She had nowhere to go and asked if she could move in with us, just for a little while, until she got back on her feet. To say I was shocked would be an understatement. After everything she had done, choosing Emma over Adam, driving him out of the family business, watching as Emma ran the company into the ground, she now expected us to open our home to her? I couldn't believe the audacity. But Adam was torn. Despite everything, he still felt a sense of duty toward his mother. She was, after all, his mother, and he couldn't bear the thought of her being homeless. He said he would consider letting her stay with us for a short time, just until she figured things out. That's when I put my foot down. I told Adam that I couldn't and wouldn't allow Caroline to live with us. This woman had destroyed his career, pushed him out of the family business, and enabled Emma to ruin everything. Now, because of her terrible decisions, she was facing the consequences, and I wasn't going to let her bring her toxic presence into our home. I reminded him of everything she had done to us and how much pain she had caused. But Adam was conflicted. He argued that Caroline was still his mother and that he couldn't just leave her out on the streets. That's when I gave him an ultimatum. It's her or me. I told him if he allowed Caroline to move in, I would leave. I simply couldn't live under the same roof as a woman who had caused so much damage to our lives. Adam is devastated. He loves me, but he also feels a sense of duty to his mother. He doesn't want to lose me, but he also doesn't want to abandon Caroline in her time of need. He's torn between his loyalty to me and his obligation to his family. And now I'm left wondering, am I being too harsh? Should I be more forgiving, given that Caroline is his mother? Or am I justified in standing my ground and protecting our home from the woman who nearly ruined our lives? Reddit, I need your help. Am I the a-hole for giving my husband an ultimatum, his mother or me? Edit for context. 1. Adam and I are financially stable, but things are tight. When Adam left the family business, we lost a significant portion of income. We're managing, but taking in Caroline would add a huge financial burden, especially since she has no savings or income now. 2. Caroline has never apologized for what she did. She hasn't acknowledged how much pain she caused Adam by choosing Emma over him, or by pushing him out of the company. Her request to stay with us felt more like an expectation than a genuine plea for help. 3. Emma is completely out of the picture. After the bankruptcy, she disappeared. As far as we know, no one has heard from her since. Caroline doesn't seem to harbor any anger toward Emma, which blows my mind, considering Emma's actions are what led to the downfall of the company. 4. I'm not trying to force Adam to cut off his mother. If he wants to help her financially or find her another place to stay, I'd be supportive of that. I just can't have her living under our roof after everything that's happened. OP is completely justified in putting her foot down. Caroline betrayed her own son by choosing his cheating ex-wife over him, and now that her poor decisions have led to her downfall, she expects them to rescue her? Absolutely not. OP's home should be a place of peace, and after everything she's done, she would only bring toxicity. She should go and ask Emma to let her live with her. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Soft, you're the a-hole. I get it. Caroline sounds awful, and I don't blame you for not wanting her around after everything she's done. But she's still Adam's mother. It sounds like he's really torn, and giving him an ultimatum is harsh, especially when it's about his own family. Couldn't you help her find a place nearby or offer some other type of support? This isn't an easy situation, but ultimatums can sometimes backfire in ways you don't expect. Not the a-hole, and honestly, Caroline is facing the consequences of her own actions. She threw away her relationship with her son to bring a manipulative ex-wife back into the picture. And look where it got her, bankrupt and alone. You're not responsible for cleaning up her mess. She has shown no remorse or accountability for what she did. So why should you sacrifice your peace of mind by letting her move in? If Adam wants to help her financially, fine. But your home is your sanctuary. Stand your ground. Not the a-hole. Boundaries are so important. And Caroline has shown time and again that she has no respect for you, Adam, or your marriage. She completely disregarded Adam's feelings by choosing Emma, and then let Emma ruin the family business. Now she's facing the consequences of her decisions, and that's not your burden to bear. Your home is supposed to be a place of safety and stability, and inviting her in after everything she's done would destroy that. You're not giving Adam an ultimatum out of spite. You're protecting your mental health and your marriage. Stand firm. This took place a couple decades ago when I was in second grade, so the details are a little fuzzy. My apologies. Growing up, my brother and I really wanted a cat. I was about 7 years old. My parents finally decided that it would be okay to start looking for one. We checked out shelter ads for a while and finally found a listing for 2 little black kittens, sisters, who were available for adoption as a pair. My brother and I instantly fell in love with them, and it was decided that we would be bringing them home. Not 1, but 2 little fluff balls. We were ecstatic, and the kittens took to us immediately and became well-loved and spoiled members of the family. My cat moved out with me when I got my own place, and she is still my loudest and most affectionate roommate at 20 years old. So what's the problem? The problem was my aunt and uncle. My aunt and uncle had twin girls who were only a few months older than me, and our families were relatively close. They lived about an hour away, and we would get together to do things several times a year. I don't recall it being a weekly or even monthly meetup, but we were closer than most of my extended family. When my aunt and uncle found out we had adopted kittens, they went absolutely ballistic. See, one of my cousins had a cat allergy, and apparently, this meant that not a single person in her life could have a cat as a result. I remember them calling my parents and screaming at them over the phone about how inconsiderate we were for adopting cats, knowing that their daughter, who we only saw every so often, was allergic. We had pre-existing plans to spend Christmas together at their house, and they uninvited us from attending. They effectively gave us an us or the cats ultimatum. My parents did not take kindly to being told how to live their lives and ceased contact. The only time I have seen them since this incident was at a family funeral several years ago. I was pretty young when all this happened, so it took me by complete surprise. I didn't know my aunt or uncle to be unreasonable or entitled, but in retrospect, I think the signs were always there. I found out years later that my aunt once interrogated everyone in line with her at the grocery store because my cousin sneezed, and she just knew that someone around her must own a cat. That is absolutely not normal behavior. It kinda sucked losing my cousins, but I can say with complete certainty that my brother and I wouldn't trade our cats for the world, and definitely not for our entitled aunt and uncle. That's disgusting behavior from them. If I was the cousin with the allergy, I'd be so embarrassed. I bet they twisted the story when telling it to your cousins too. Stuff like, they don't want us coming over anymore, or some other manipulative BS. Growing up, I had a similar relationship with my 2 cousins. Me and my bro, her and her bro, were all similar ages. We'd have sleepovers every couple months and stuff. Well, one of them had a moderate cat allergy, and we had a lot of cats. He still came over with an extra dose of allergy medicine, I think. We just went there more often, as to accommodate his allergy. Our house had less rules though, more fun, so they still came over sometimes. Like, you could still have a relationship with them if your aunt and uncle weren't such entitled smooth brains. Allergies can change over time. I know one person who had a non-anaphylactic cat allergy as a child, and when tested as an adult, had changed to a dog sensitivity. For all they know, your cousin may no longer have an allergy to cats. That's assuming he ever did. His parents could have made up the whole thing. Perhaps they don't like cats. Perhaps they just wanted something to give them a reason to tell others what to do. Unless your cousin's allergy was unusually severe, I think your parents offered a reasonable compromise that should have worked. I wonder if any of their classmates had cats, or if your cousins were homeschooled. I, 39 male, have one sister, Kim, female 30. Our parents died 7 years ago, leaving me everything in their will. At the time, Kim had a serious D problem. She had been through rehab 3 times and jail twice at this point. My parents' death was a shock to all of us, and it really seemed to motivate Kim. She asked me to send her to rehab 6 months after they died. I agreed. To my knowledge, she has been clean since. Kim now has 3 kids, 4 male, 3 male, 4 months female, as well as a husband, John, male 31. Kim and her husband are struggling financially. Kim is now demanding that I give her her half of the inheritance, roughly $90K, so she wants $45K I received from our parents. I've said no. My sister and some of my extended family are calling me a greedy jerk, which is close to an a-hole. My thinking: Kim cost my parents thousands of dollars in rehab and legal expenses alone. They had to take a second mortgage on the house to pay legal fees. I, on the other hand, was pretty much financially independent at 18. I went to college on a full scholarship and worked part-time to pay for my own expenses. My parents gave me gifts, but never had to pay any of my expenses once I was out of high school. My parents made me the sole beneficiary of their life insurance and the sole heir in their will. They never said a word or left any indication that they expected me to share anything with Kim or look after her in any way. It was their money, and they opted to give it to me. My parents knew I had refused to give Kim any money while they were alive. I spoke to my parents every week. Kim put them through hell. I do have a hard time forgiving her for the number of times she made Mom cry. I did pay about $9K to put her through rehab after my parents died, so I have helped her. I did all the work after my parents died, planning the funeral, calling everyone, cleaning out the house and going through their things alone, and selling the house. I gave Kim my mom's jewelry, including her wedding and engagement ring. She sold them to buy D. Kim's thinking: from what she said, she may have additional reasons. Kim is as much my parents' child as I am. She believes this means she deserves half of their estate. That siblings evenly splitting an inheritance is only fair. Kim is now clean and believes that if she had been clean when my parents died, they would have left her half. Kim has 3 kids, my parents' grandchildren. Kim believes that my parents would want to help their grandchildren. I do not have children and don't plan to have any. She needs the money, but I don't. Kim believes that since I am more financially successful, I don't have the same need of the inheritance that she does. She is correct. The amount of money my parents left didn't change my life at all. I put it in my retirement savings, but it is a small part of it. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give her money now? Not the a-hole. Executors exist for a reason. Your parents trusted you with the money, not her. If you want to be generous, set up trust funds in her kids' names. The fact that you gave her your mom's wedding jewelry and she sold it to buy D is proof she is not capable of looking after a large amount of money. Not the a-hole. Get a rough estimate of the jewelry, the cost of rehab and legal fees, and anything else related, and give it to her. My guess is it won't be too far shy, if not over $45K. She wants money now because she needs it, and as such has revealed exactly how much her parents meant to her. They were there to bail her out of trouble she created. Seems she has not taken responsibility for her actions and their consequences.